Have you ever said yes to something when every part of you wanted to say no? Maybe it was helping someone when you were already exhausted. Maybe it was agreeing to plans you didn't want to go to. Maybe it was staying quiet instead of speaking up. And in the moment, it feels easier to just go along with it. But later, you feel drained, frustrated, maybe even a little resentful. And then the thought comes up, why do I keep doing this? If that feels familiar, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not weak. You just haven't been taught how to set boundaries without feeling guilty. This is episode 14, and today we're talking about the art of setting boundaries without guilt. Not being harsh, not pushing people away, but learning how to protect your time, your energy, and your peace in a way that still feels aligned with who you are. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand why boundaries feel so difficult and how to start setting them in a way that actually feels right. Let's start with something important. The reason boundaries feel uncomfortable isn't because they're wrong. It's because they're unfamiliar. If you're used to being the person who says yes, who helps, who accommodates, then saying no can feel like you're doing something bad. Psychologist Dr. Henry Cloud, co-author of Boundaries, explains that boundaries are simply about understanding what is your responsibility and what is not. But many people grow up believing that keeping others happy is their responsibility. So when you set a boundary, your mind says, you're being selfish. You're letting people down. They might not like you anymore. That's where the guilt comes from. Not from the boundary itself, but from the story attached to it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt exhausted? Not because you were doing too much, but because you were doing too much for other people? That's what happens without boundaries. Your time gets filled, your energy gets drained, and your needs get pushed to the side. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about including yourself in your own life. Here's a powerful shift. Setting a boundary doesn't mean you're rejecting someone. It means you're respecting yourself. Author Nedra Tawwab, who writes extensively about boundaries, explains that boundaries are a form of self-care, not the kind that looks like rest or relaxation, but the kind that protects your mental and emotional space. For example, instead of saying yes when you're overwhelmed, you say, I can't commit to that right now. Instead of replying instantly to every message, you give yourself time. Instead of over-explaining, you keep it simple. Boundaries don't need to be dramatic. They just need to be clear. Now let me pause for a moment. If this is helping you think differently about your time, your energy, and your relationships, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so you can keep growing with us. And if something here resonates, drop a comment with one word that describes how you're feeling right now. Maybe it's relieved, aware, learning, or strong. Or share how this video has helped you, because your comment might give someone else the courage to start setting boundaries too. Let's continue. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with boundaries is fear. Fear of disappointing people, fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood. But here's the truth. If someone only respects you when you say yes, they're not respecting you. They're benefiting from your lack of boundaries. And that's a hard realization, but an important one. Because real relationships can handle honesty. They can handle limits. They can handle you showing up as your full self. And here's something that will change everything. You don't need to remove guilt completely to set boundaries. You just need to stop letting guilt control your decisions. Because at first it might feel uncomfortable. That's normal, you're doing something new. But over time, that discomfort turns into confidence. Because you start seeing the results. More energy, more clarity, more respect from others and from yourself. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to leave you with something simple. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to protect your energy. And doing that doesn't make you selfish. It makes you self-respecting. Thank you for being here. If this helped you, subscribe so you can tune in next time for more conversations about mindset, self-growth, and building a life that feels aligned. And if you feel like it, leave a comment with one word that describes how you're feeling right now. Take your time with this. Start small. And remember, Every boundary you set is a step toward a more honest life. I'll see you next time.